Years ago, our so-called founding fathers came up with a bunch of rules, a bunch of laws that they believed would make this country, this world, a better place. But let's stick to this country. And when you look at a sport that has no rules, such as boxing, you kind of go with the flow, so to speak. People make up rules on the fly, and that's just how boxing works. And 2 months later, those rules that they made up on the fly are totally non-existent, and you can do the complete opposite. That's just the history of boxing. It's a sport with no rules. So, as we look at the case of Stiverne, we see that he was entered into the WBC clean boxing program with VADA, and on November 4th he tested positive for a drug that's on the banned substance list, DMAA, or dimethylamine, excuse me. And what dimethylamine does is it's a stimulant that's used to boost energy, which is something that athletes have used in the past. But let's go back to those founding fathers, or the alleged founding fathers of this country meaning United States. And so he put these rules in place. I mean, you can look at the amendments, the Constitution, just the way that these laws, bylaws, rules were designed for in a way that they thought would be better, and that would help this country operate the way that, in a good way, the way that they intended it to run, which is a good way. And you fast forward hundreds of years later to present day America, and I gotta be honest, when you look at a lot of the rules, a lot of the laws, they still work today. They still work today. There's only one problem, and that problem is greed. GREED. It's all about that dollar. And when we look at the fact that these two guys are fighting for the WBC I guess to be the mandatory contender for Deontay Wilder. If it wasn't about money, then this fight should be canceled. Instead, there's a $75,000 fine. That's money. And Stiverne will be allowed to fight. And so he'll be on a similar probation as, guess who? his opponent, Alexander Povetkin. So we have Povetkin, who went through a drug situation that, no matter what side of the fence you're on, it's a situation that has him able to fight, but under a more stringent testing, but nevertheless still being viewed as, well, you had something in your system past the cutoff date. So Alexander was using a drug which was legal, or wasn't on the was legal, and then there was a cutoff date of January of this year to have the drug out of your system, and so Povetkin was negative, and then after a while showed some traces, which is kind of head scratching. So whatever side you're on. So what we have are two guys who have failed drug tests, fighting a WBC title eliminator. Then you got Lucas Brown, a guy who failed a drug test, and then there was a mistake made, and we don't know what's what. So if they're saying that he's clear and he won the title, and listen, all of this super champion, regular champion, champion emeritus, champion at recess, I mean, so when you say Lucas Brown won the title over Shagayev, then he holds a piece of the title, so he should be fighting to unify. So you stick Shannon Briggs in there and say, well, Lucas, even though we were wrong and you were right, and you still have to do this. Meanwhile, with Povetkin, you're saying, okay, we were kind of wrong, but you have to fight this guy to get to Wilder instead of just being Wilder's mandatory. So you got Lucas Brown, drug situation, Stiverne, drug situation, Povetkin, drug situation. You got the real King Kong, Luis Ortiz as some say, who failed a drug exam, drug situation. It's like, I mean, I guess Wilder and Anthony Joshua are next, huh? And Vladimir Klitschko had a history of his own some years ago, he and his brother dating back to the Olympics. So it's like, the problem is, and listen, I like Berman Stiverne. I mean, I've kicked it with him a couple of times in Las Vegas. Decent dude. He's actually very close friends with a friend of mine. And so, I mean, I like the kid. I like the guy. But, however, my question isn't with VADA. VADA just gives the test results. My question is with boxing, once again, the WBC in particular. You're going to allow the fight to go on. So you're being lenient, and you won't suspend Stiverne. This is already a questionable matchup with Povetkin. I mean, why Lucas Brown and why Povetkin are going through what they have to go through, I don't get. And so in essence, the board of governors for the WBC, they didn't suspend Stiverne, and their reasoning is that they don't think he took it to get an edge in his fight with Povetkin. And since it was the first time he failed a drug test, quote, there is no evidence that Stiverne intentionally or even knowingly ingested a banned substance with the purpose of enhancing his performance in any fashion. I mean, can every first time user, and for that sake every fifth time user, kind of say, hey, I didn't intentionally do this, I didn't even knowingly do this? It boils down to this, folks. Greed. GREED. So now Stiverne will be in this, quote, specific testing protocol, which was designed by VADA, and he'll have to pay for it, rightfully so. But who's going to hold the WBC accountable? And speaking of the WBC, I'm tired of these New Jack fans are fans, but these fanboys, these media people, just giving every piece of credibility to the WB. Oh, that's the green belt. That's like the best belt you can get. Like, says who? I mean, you do know there's prestige. If you really check the history, there's prestige with the IBF belt. There's prestige with all the belts, but making one more desirable than the others, I never. That one, I never got that one. And when you hear stuff like this, I don't know why anyone would even want to call that belt the superior belt when you in terms of what it represents, as opposed to, now, I mean, the WBA is just absolutely clueless at times. The IBF, I respect. I mean, listen, all of them have their issues, but with the IBF and you can't weigh 10 pounds more than on fight night, or the day of the fight, I should say, when you weigh in, and how they stripped Tyson Fury before anyone else. I mean, they were proactive with it. They didn't react. You got to look at things like that and understand. But this isn't a hit piece on all the sanctioning bodies. It's just the sport of boxing. So Stiverne went on to inform the appropriate parties that he took a dietary supplement called Super Harm in front of a WBC sample collector in order to facilitate urination. He also admitted to taking it twice because the supplement staff at EOS Gym in Henderson, Nevada recommended it to him. I mean, come on, man. Listen, I'm not saying that Stiverne is lying, but what I'm saying is when you make a statement and then the story becomes as elaborate as it's becoming, and then they added he was looking for a product that would help him with post-workout fatigue. He now realizes he was very naive following the store's recommendation of an off-the-shelf supplement while being ignorant of its contents. Now, this Super Harm company, Super Farm company, PH, so it's Super, PHARM, one word. Now, if they come out and say there's nothing in our supplement that suggests that you would fill a test for such and such, and then we're going to sue or something like that, you know what I mean? Not to say that they will, but where do you go from there? If they threaten legal action, do you say, well, maybe it was something else I took? I did take. You understand what I'm saying? So this whole thing just. And Povetkin tested positive for the meldonium, and I just don't know. I don't know. I'm very interested in how fans. I wanted to know your translation, because this is off the wall. and I see why a lot of fighters who got popped in the past, I'm not going to say any names, they were out there, who got busted by VADA will say, oh no, I'll test anytime, any day, anytime, any week, just not VADA. Why? Why not VADA? I mean, I would want the company that busted me to do the testing so I can prove that I'm not a dirty athlete. That's what I would want. I mean, they have the most stringent testing. They test, their protocols are they have test protocols for things that other testing don't do. They just don't do. So I don't know. Let us know what you think. Comment below. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to be giving away some money in early 2017, and you have to be subscribed in order to get some of that green. Follow us on Twitter at The Fight Journal, and go to our webpage, thefightjournal.com. Follow us. Type your email in and select the follow button. And every story we do, every video, every interview, what have you, will be sent directly to your email. You won't have to follow us, we'll find you. Like VADA, we'll find you. Let us know what you think, fans. Also, check out our friends at DPG Uncut TV for the latest hip-hop and entertainment news. And this is disturbing, especially since the heavyweight division is making a comeback. There's youth there. There are guys who are fighting, who are letting their hands go, and we need to do it right. Despite the rules, I mean, let's pass these tests and let's get in the ring and fight and let the rules be whatever. Shout out to also to Strictly Boxing News. You want to subscribe to them. Good channel. That's my man over there. Strictly Boxing News for sure. My man on the West Coast, the left coast. Holla back. And we'll catch you on the next one.